Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Audi A6 and you know what? It looks amazing, doesn't it? Because it kind of looks like a mini A8 to me. Anyways, this is the key of the vehicle. This is to lock the car, this is to unlock the car, and this is to open the boot of the vehicle. Yeah, I don't know how it got damaged, but it wasn't me for sure. Anyway, straight away, let's open the engine bay where you get a petrol engine, of course. Gas struts, insulation is there as well. Red cabling inside. There is the Audi logo on the engine cover as well, and it says the warning. Anyways, let's just shut this. Thing is, this car actually happens to be quite big, yet it is actually smaller than the E-Class, because obviously the E-Class is long wheelbase in India. This is not long wheelbase, this is the regular wheelbase. So you get front parking sensors, no front camera. This is the headlight washer. Headlights are absolutely beautiful. This is actually for the indicator, the DRL, and the main light, of course. And the DRL looks beautiful. The whole treatment of the light is very nice. I'll show it to you without the indicator, of course. And this car is almost 5 meters in length, so it's quite long. But it is actually shorter than, of course, the E-Class, which is obvious. The wheelbase is also lesser than the E-Class, which is obvious because that's long wheelbase. This is standard wheelbase. Now let's compare it with another standard wheelbase car, which happens to be the BMW 5 Series. Now the 5 Series is actually bigger in length as well as wheelbase. So yes, this is sort of the shortest, but still it's good enough because the difference isn't much. You get two 25, 55, 18-inch tires, of course. Alloy wheel design is actually quite nice. Massive sidewall for better ride quality, of course. You see the parking sensors jut all the way here because obviously this car also gets self-park function, but honestly it looks way better in white, so white color really suits this car. Anyways, you get this chrome sort of door handles, request sensors on all the doors, black finishing here on the B pillar, and you know what, sort of sloping roofline. That is the shark fin antenna. Chrome treatment around the windows, which looks very premium indeed. Coming to the rear of the car, again, lights are very nice and beautiful, of course, that's what you would expect. And dynamic swipe indicators also look fantastic. Rear parking sensors, this is the towing hook, and that is the camera, which actually gets the cleaning function as well, which is quite nice. That's the Audi logo. Says A6 here. Faisal Khan's fingers of truth disappointed by this fake sort of exhaust treatment, because the real exhaust happens to be down here. Yeah, there are two of them, and right now the indicator's on, but so is the rear fog light. So let's actually open the boot of the vehicle, and there it opens. It's not powered, but if you press it, it goes up all the way like that. You get this sort of warning triangle, of course. Boot is 530 liters, which is quite big, and this, you know the use of this, of course. Let's open this thing, the under tray. Okay, this should slot somewhere here. Yeah, there it slots. You get a full size subwoofer, I think. Okay, because it's sort of connected there, but jack, rose, and all the toolkit is placed right here. Spare wheel is not full size, of course. It's not an alloy either. Tire size is 145, 65, 20, but Audi actually designed this whole thing with the spare wheel in mind. Other car makers did not do it. That's the reason why the boot is big enough. And then obviously you get this net as well, which I can just slot right here. Quite practical, this boot. So let's just shut this. You can pull it from here, and there it shuts. Let's get to the rear, because that's where most people will be in an A6. Now the interesting part is that the door pockets are big enough. You get a sun blind here, yeah, which is manually usable. However, the sun blind here is actually electric, and seat recline angle isn't much, but the seats are actually comfortable. You get a center armrest with, okay, there it is, cup holder, and there's some storage space here as well. Very practical, huh? And then the good thing is that everybody gets a head, so 3 adjustable headrests. There's good amount of space on offer. In fact, legroom and knee room is very nice, but obviously not E-Class level. Under-thigh support is not that great. You get 4-zone climate control, air conditioning, and 2 USB charging sockets along with a cigarette lighter. A massive hump here, which means that 3 people are not comfortable. Magazine holder, scooped out seat back, height adjustable seat belts, hook, handle, hook, 6 airbags, And the dashboard design is actually quite nice with the layered finishing. You can see the ambient lighting right here. So ambient light is also cool, but not Mercedes cool enough. And seats actually nice and comfortable. Isofix child seat mounts, of course. AC vents are placed here as well, right there too. So it's actually made for the rear bencher. However, I have to tell you this. The unfortunate part is that this car is not available in long wheelbase format for India. This is where the fuel actually goes. It says you should fill 95 octane preferably. Let's get inside. Now, 4-zone lumbar adjustment, or yeah, whatever. 4-way lumbar adjustment. This is the adjustment for the seat. The seat has become quite dirty because this car has been used quite a lot, and you can see door pockets are big enough here. These are the controls for the outside rear view mirror adjustment. These ones, okay. These are for power window controls. Memory seats for the drivers. You can save up to 2 people settings, but none for the co-passenger, unfortunately. Wood treatment here, and oh my god, keep dropping the phone. The usual Audi affair inside. First things first, let's actually open the sun blind of the sunroof to bring in some light. And it takes its own sweet time to open. Let's actually even open the sunroof, and there it opens. It's big enough, but the E-Class comes with 2 of these. One for the front one for the rear one. Oh my god, why is it hitchkicking a bit? Please, piche chale jao. That's about it. Press it once again. No, that's the maximum it opens, so it doesn't open too much as such. Anyways, here you get a mirror and a light. Same is the case here as well. You get a mirror and light. The usual affair. And light placement here on the top. That's how you can turn it on. You can just touch it like this and turn on the light. Now this is obviously a auto dimming mirror. By the way, the rear seat belt hooks, or rather buckles, even the front ones, they actually light up at night, and then beautiful ambient lighting. This thing does go ahead and behind. There's a wireless charging pad here, light placement right there, 2 USB charging sockets, 1 SD card slot 2. This is wood treatment, which has to be opened like this. You get a cigarette lighter. There's a proper slot for the key and 2 cup holders. Otherwise, you can put 1 ashtray as well. So a proper slot for the key, which is interesting because here's the key, and I have just slotted it right there, so I don't lose it at all. Now, okay, I think I've done it the wrong way. That's why it's not shutting. Now, yeah, there it shuts. Glove box is lockable. It's decent size. There's a pen holder inside as well. Audi logo there. Beautiful dashboard, layered. You have wood finishing here. You've got leather there, piano black there, and it's just a mix of amazing colors, which is fantastic. Okay, steering wheel is actually electrically adjustable, which is nice. That's the lever for cruise control, of course. This is the beautiful gear lever of the vehicle. This is for the electric parking brake. This is for auto hold function. Wood treatment here. This is for the parking camera, and you know what? It has got adaptive guidelines. By the way, this camera also helps. I mean, rather the sensors help in self park, which actually works quite nice in this car. And here you can press the self park button right there. This thing happens to be a complete fingerprint magnet. So this is for stop start system, and this is to put this up and down this particular screen. Okay, turn on the climate control here. It's a 4-zone climate control air conditioning. So this is an 8-inch screen for the climate control, basically for the air conditioning. This particular one down here. AC is a chiller. We'll just shut this for a moment. This is for Audi drive select. This is for traction control. You keep it pressed, traction control turns off completely and making crazy amount of sound. This is actually for the driver assistance, and it doesn't have anything much. It has lane departure warning though, something which I never noticed till now. Anyways, so this is for air conditioning controls as well, some buttons, which is actually nice to have some buttons. And you have a physical dial for volume control as well as to go ahead and behind with a track. This is the engine start button. You won't believe it, every time you turn on the car, it makes this Audi sound, which is actually fantastic. I really like it. Steering wheel is actually big enough and has this piano black finishing. This is for audio controls, obviously. These are the controls for that virtual cockpit, which is actually a 10.25 inch unit. So this is a 10.1 inch unit. This is an 8 inch unit. Lot of screens, 3 screens in this car. I like the way the ambient lighting is done. These are actually the controls for the headlights. Meanwhile, you can see the virtual cockpit. I press this view button there. I can browse through a lot of stuff, and it's very easy to use. Here I can see a lot of stuff very fast. But if I want to change it, I have to actually get into settings, display and brightness, here virtual cockpit, and then I decide I want to go into dynamic. It asks me, am I sure? Of course I'm sure, and there I can change it. That was easy, not very complex. Yeah, and then obviously you can change the full map view as well. Other interesting bits include that here in this screen you have haptic touch, which is something which slows down the whole process. So you can turn that off as well, and then you have to press it harder, which means it leaves fingerprints. This car has got Apple CarPlay, it's got Android Auto connectivity, it's got Bang & Olufsen audio system also, and the usual Audi bits like light and visibility and all that. So we will actually get into this because there's something known as interior lighting here, background lighting here. I can change this lighting thing. So it's got multiple colors. In fact, in individual I can go and change it for the surfaces as well as, okay, it's such a huge process. So they are like 30 colors, but you have to really keep getting inside the menu. We are going to get into reverse. Okay, this is the reverse parking camera. Here I am going to use the, there it's cleaned it, yes. So it has that function also, which is nice. So let's do one thing, let's actually listen to some audio because obviously Bang & Olufsen. Yeah, some weird songs coming on the radio, but audio quality is actually very nice. So quite impressive there also. You got paddle shifters, of course, and then the wipers work really well. You can see good amount of spray on offer. Obviously fantastic wipers. These are controls for the indicators, these are controls for the wipers, automatic headlights, automatic wipers, the usual bits. The horn, the horn is nice, but the car is so well insulated you can't hear much. Let me turn off the car. There it shows me the Audi logo, and then sort of from a curtain it falls, which is also quite nice. And you know what, the seat also goes ahead and behind every time I turn on the car. So here I turn on the car, there the seat will move ahead, and I've put it on full volume, so it's really very loud. There, all the windows roll down. The sunroof just tilts. Okay, it doesn't open, it just tilts. Anyways, let's start driving. All right, we are all set to go, which means turning on the car. There is the welcome sound. First things first, we turn off the air conditioning, we turn off the audio system as well, and I am actually going to put the drive select into comfort. I straight away get into reverse, and then you notice this car is very long. It's almost 5 meters in length, but you don't feel that length at all because that's the way this car has been made. It's very smooth, it's very easy to drive somehow. Look at the steering, it's so light at lower speeds, which is fantastic. You know, it's very easy to maneuver this car in spite of the size. And look at the speed at which I can actually twirl the steering wheel with one hand. So that's the level of smoothness this car has. Anyways, now the thing is that I'm driving in comfort to show you the difference between various drive modes. Actually not various, just comfort and dynamic, because honestly the drive modes don't make much of a difference. So this is a car which actually is very easy to drive, super refined. You can't hear the engine at all. It's that smooth. It's very smooth an engine. Can you hear it? No, you cannot hear it. That's the level of refinement on offer, and that's something you expect from Audi, of course. And they have dropped diesel, which is a bit of a bummer. And that's the reason you see on the thumbnail what my t-shirt says. I stand by it. A diesel is a diesel is a diesel. Plus on the thumbnail, you can see the t-shirt I'm wearing actually has the main rival of this car there. Anyways, this engine is used in so many cars from the VW group right now. Now the same engine obviously goes in the Q5 in the same state of tune, but in a lower state of tune it's available in the Q3. It's also available in the Tiguan, in the Kodiaq, in the Octavia, in the Superb. Oh my god, one engine, and it's like the national engine for the VW group because it's powering so many cars. It's unbelievable. Anyways, the thing is that you would expect this car to be very soft, and of course it is soft, but somehow, you know, they have managed to get the ride well calibrated. So in spite of the softness, it doesn't feel overtly soft, and it doesn't feel that bouncy, which is something you would expect probably from a car which is so softly sprung. And here we are. So the horn is fine actually, and off we go. You can see the pull is very smooth, nice, and quite linear as well. So performance is obviously linear. Now this car is powered by a 2-liter TFSI engine known as the 45 TFSI. Rather it's the 45. Yeah, it's the 45 TFSI. What are you talking about? TFSI and TSI, similar things. I'm getting confused. Anyways, this engine is a 2-liter unit which has turbocharging, it has direct injection, and it also has Yeah, that's it. Nothing else. It's a 4-cylinder unit. So it produces 245 horsepower between 5000 to 6500 RPM. Making a quick overtake is not a problem because there is just a lot of grunt on offer, and the car actually feels quite light to drive. It doesn't feel heavy in any way. The torque output happens to be 370 Newton meters. Now this 370 Newton meters comes in at a low 1600 RPM and stays there till 4300 RPM. That's the reason why it has a fantastic mid-range. Like, mid-range performance is absolutely stunning in this car, and the drivability is also very nice. So turbo lag is supremely well contained. What you're going to do is, we are actually going to get it into dynamic mode. So there are 5 drive modes on offer, and they are efficiency, comfort, auto, dynamic and individual. So with individual, you can actually tweak 2 things. One is the drive, which is the engine and the gearbox, and the other is the steering wheel. So steering wheel can either be comfortable, okay, comfort, balance and sport. The engine can be, or rather the drive can be efficiency, balanced or sport. So right now everything is in sport, and you don't feel much of a difference as such, which you usually feel with change of mode. So the mode change really doesn't make any difference, and nothing happens to the suspension, of course, because the suspension of this car doesn't have adaptive dampers or air suspension. None of that is there. So what they have done is, they've actually got rid of that in this car. Why? To save on cost, of course, and that's the reason why it has a good ride, but it's not E-Class level ride quality. Now obviously E-Class, certain variants obviously get air suspension. The 5 Series gets adaptive dampers as standard. Yeah, very much as standard, and because everybody drives in the right lane like the buses and trucks, you have to actually dive. Okay, and you can see the steering is actually quite quick. Yeah, it's very quick. So they have this variable steering wheel, which is certainly very quick with directional changes. It's not very feelsome as such, but it is decently quick in terms of directional changes. Doesn't get very heavy at high speed either. So you're just going to come to a quick halt in this leftmost lane. Here we are, hazard lights off. The first things first, I'm going to turn off traction control. It says ESC Sport. So let's just keep this button pressed. Will it turn it off completely? Yeah, it is off completely now. And we also need to actually get into the settings. Okay, display and brightness, virtual cockpit, and we change this to dynamic. I don't know why it keeps asking me yes or no. Pre-sense currently limited, it's saying. Okay, here we are, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, hazard lights off, and off we go. Oh my god, the kind of wheel spin it did, it was endless. It just did not stop. It kept going on and on and on and on. You know why? Because obviously this is a front wheel drive car with ESC off, and with so much torque and power, it is obviously going to spin the wheels like mad, and it does it in a crazy fashion. You know why? Because this has more power and torque when compared to the E-Class petrol model, but then Mercedes is focusing on diesel heavily. So they have 2 diesel engines, E220D as well as the E350D, which is in another league, both in terms of performance as well as pricing. Now, this is one of the most affordable cars in this segment. So while Audi has actually removed the air suspension or adaptive air suspension and all that, doesn't really matter because the ride is actually quite nice. It doesn't feel bouncy, it's very well calibrated, and even on this dirty road which you are driving right now, it actually is quite good in the way it's able to absorb the worst of bumps. Yeah, it moves a bit because suspension is on the softer side, but overall ride comfort is fantastic. Like, I'm all praises for it. Yeah, the horn is nice and loud as well. Oh my god, at around 50 kilometers per hour when I get into the throttle, it still wheel spins with the traction control off. That is the level of performance it has to offer, which is unbelievably nice. I really like it. I like the way this car is so smooth and refined. In fact, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes just 6.8 seconds. Meanwhile, the top speed is around 230 kilometers per hour. Now, the thing is, it has more power and torque when compared to the E-Class. But when compared to the 5 Series, it has more torque. The 5 Series has slightly more power. The 5 Series has like 250 horsepower or something, so which doesn't really matter. 5 horsepower is not going to make much of a difference. This is running a 7-speed S-tronic gearbox, which basically is a dual clutch transmission, which also powers all the other cars which I had mentioned earlier, which are using the same engine, of course. Now, this gearbox is decently quick with shifts. It's silent, it's smooth, it's refined, but it's not very fast. It's not lightning quick like you would expect from a dual clutch automatic, but then everything has been tuned for comfort, and that is where this car absolutely excels. So you're just going to change this mode as well right now. Yeah, there's this nice lunge in the mid-range. It doesn't hesitate at all, it just pulls. So there's no flat spot in the whole power delivery. Obviously this engine is just like next level. Fantastic engine, trust me on this. This VW Group 2 liter engine amazing, just unbelievably good in the way it performs. And fuel efficiency is somewhere between 9 to 12 kilometers per liter depending on your driving style. Now obviously a diesel would be much more efficient, which is the USP of a diesel, plus the fact with diesel is also that additional torque rush. But this is the most expensive front wheel drive car you can buy in India. Yeah, that is the thing. But you don't really miss rear wheel drive here because this is not a car you would like to push around the corner. Yeah, if you push, obviously it's going to understeer, unlike the rivals which will have a little bit of oversteer character obviously when you push it really very aggressively, which no one's really going to do with such a category of car, because it's all about comfort, and in that sense it really is fantastic. It glides ahead very nicely and smoothly. Ride is quite nice as well. Stability wise also it's good. Feels stable. It feels easy to drive as well. And overall it's a very practical and comfort oriented car which totally excels when it comes to offering you the comfort and feel good factor. Problem is that it becomes a bit noisy at higher speed, especially on bad Indian roads. Now you can hear a bit of the suspension and you can hear a bit of the outside as well. Now obviously, like I was telling you, it runs on steel springs, but somehow the calibration is so good now that you really do not miss air suspension here. The thing is, the engine is so refined, it's so smooth. Now you cannot hear the engine much. So that's the reason you end up hearing a lot more of the road. By the way, red line comes in slightly around 6,500 RPM. And I am actually right now in S mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into manual mode here. And yeah, in manual mode I realized that if you don't work the gearbox, there's a bit of a lag you can feel lower down the rev range, but you can just deal with that. That's not like much big of an issue. And here we go. Oh my god, it's wheel spinning like crazy, which is unbelievable. This car wheel spins like mad at any given speed with traction control off. So that is the level of grunt it has, which is quite nice. In fact, I like the fact that it's so easy to drive this car. And then typical Audi tuning, which is comfortable suspension, steering not having much feel or feedback as such. But the difference between the drive modes is so narrow now that I don't even feel that, okay, fine, now I'm in dynamic mode or anything of that sort. It doesn't really make any difference whatsoever. That's what I'm saying as a layman. You don't feel the difference. You expect it to make a bit of a difference in terms of the way it drives, but no, that doesn't really happen here. And you obviously have paddle shifters also, so if you feel adventurous enough that I want to make shifts, sure, be my guest here. I've actually downshifted into first gear and it's not going to make any difference because it does not hold on to a gear. In fact, it will aggressively upshift also even if I don't hit the red line, because it's like, let's conserve some fuel. Yeah, it's actually shifting quite fast now and does it around 6,500 RPM. So that's that. It doesn't become noisy, it becomes a little bit vocal after 4,000 RPM. So that sportiness is also not there in this car. So they're very clear here that we don't want to make passengers feel any sort of G-force at all. It's all about comfort. You can call this A6 like a mini A8. The whole feel is there. This is genuinely a limousine which offers great amount of comfort, and obviously the E-Class does a lot of it. But you know what's the best thing here? Compared to the E-Class, the pricing of this car is way more attractive, and then obviously the feel-good factor of this cabin and overall the vehicle is also quite nice. So this is something which people will definitely like, and that's the thing that's the reason why the A6 has a huge fan following, because this car does offer you the comfort and the swag and the overall luxury feel as well, and obviously it excels in that regard. Anytime I get into the throttle, I can feel it. Now, coming around the corner, you can feel the roll. It does roll out quite a bit here, you can see. Yeah, and front end does tend to wash if you try to go more aggressively. Thank you, front wheel drive. Otherwise, with rear wheel drive, you can accelerate a bit, try to correct the rear, and then go from there. Now, brakes are fine, but again, because of relatively soft suspension, there's a slight little bit of nosedive under heavy braking as well. And now left foot on the brake. Okay, once we can hazard lights on, we should stop on the absolute left shoulder. Here we are. Hazard lights off, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor. So this car is available in two variants, Premium Plus, which is priced at rupees 72.16 lakhs, and Technology, which is this one, the higher variant, which is priced at 79.31 lakhs. All the prices are on road Mumbai, of course. Price is actually quite attractive because it undercuts all its rivals, unless and until you want to cross shop and go for something which is non-German, like say the Lexus ES300H, which also offers great amount of comfort and refinement and better fuel efficiency because obviously it's hybrid and the reliability of a Toyota / Lexus car. So that's something also people do consider. But as I see it, the A6 is a fantastic car. It's a shame we do not get the diesel. It's a shame we do not even get the S6 in India, and it's a shame we do not get hybrid, because Audi believes there's no point having a hybrid in India because there's no tax benefit, plus it adds to the cost, and people who are buying a luxury car really do not care much about fuel efficiency. Well, I do, but then I'm not buying a luxury car at the moment, so that's a bit of a difference. Now many of you will be like, yeah, but Faisal, you had got the A6, this exact car, around 3 years back. Why didn't you make a vlog of that? So I need to clear it. When the car came now, it had a sort of a puncture, which was obviously not evident at that time, but then when I started to drive, that puncture happened in like 10 kilometers only. So I changed the spare wheel, and obviously spare wheel is not an alloy, because of which it has happened that brands have told me, please don't shoot our car with the spare wheel on, it doesn't look nice, that our expensive car is being shot with one wheel which is so chintu mintu. So I told Audi, this is the issue and I don't want to shoot the car with a spare wheel, so can you just give me the car later? They said, yeah, fine, we'll do that. When we were taking the car, they told me that, but later they never gave me the car. Only they said, we gave you the car, but you never shot, your problem. And I'm like, oh god. Plus I was also a little lazy that time, otherwise I would have definitely made a video and shot the car with a spare wheel, because like I care. But that's the sad reality. So lesson to learn from there is, don't push off anything for tomorrow what you can do today. And because this is a Pajero, and that guy is bullying me right now, he did not let me get inside. That's the problem with Pajeros, because they have this road presence. You also get scared. You're like, acha bhai, tu chale ja, main baad mein aata hu. So guys, this is a quick vlog of the Audi A6. I know I always say the word quick, but it's not quick at all, and the wheel spin absolutely blows your mind. The way this car wheel spins, mind-numbing, mind-blowing, but you're going to hit a very bad patch of traffic. It's always crowded here. So I'm just going to end. Bye-bye.